Pritam, I think what you can do is if you can just start off by maybe talking a little about the kind of work you've done and maybe your profile within the industry, how you see yourself or your profession or etc. within the industry.
Okay. See, after graduation, I went to Satyajit Film and Television Institute in sound engineering, and then in 2005, I got out from there and came to Bombay. So, from 2006, I started assisting someone in commercial films as an assistant sound uh, recordist. I assisted him in two films, and then I was doing a lot of documentaries, like documentaries of different foreign channels, also Indian channels also. Then 2000, in 2009, I got my first break as a independent sound designer, sound recordist for a film called Love, Sex or Dhokha by Dibakar Banerjee. So that was the first film, and after that I did some post work in film called Band Bajarana. And after that, I did 7-8 more films as a sound recordist, and location recordist, and sound designer. So right now I'm working on 2 projects simultaneously. That's it.
That's really very impressive within such a young age, but yeah, so well
No,
done.
I'm not young. No.
But you
So,
look young.
I look young. Yeah, I can.
When you're recording sound, do you find a difference in the way you're recording sound now compared to maybe 10, 15 years back in terms of there seem to be many more Hollywood films showing at the moment at multiplexes compared to before. So, maybe audience taste has changed or whatever it is. Like, do you think there's a change in the way you're recording sound or, the kind of
It's definitely changed with the exposure of Hollywood films, more and more Hollywood films in multiplexes that have come up. Audience are more aware. They know what is good sound, what is bad sound. And I have seen in my experience that people can go through jerky pictures, like pictures moving, scratchy pictures. But if there is a problem in the sound in terms of jerks and everything, they cannot tolerate it. They cannot go through that film. So that is from earlier also. It is not due to the exposure of any films and all that, but but the use of sound in terms of elements, in terms of story, it is becoming more and more engaging. It is in Indian also, Indian film also. So I think the exposure to different like Hollywood films and other films has helped. And earlier it used to be mono sound. Now it is like Dolby 500 is the normal format. It has become Dolby Atmos, where like 120 speakers and all. So it's like a surround submersive sound. So it's all more engaging. It's definitely helped in terms of recording. We are of course new equipments are being invented, and that is coming to us also. Earlier we used to record in Nagra, only one track, one magnetic track, which was pilot sound. Now we're trying to do all films the sing sound recording. That is, when we shoot the sound that we record from the actors, that is going to be used in the film as dialogues. So, so in terms of noise cleaning, in terms of creating a place where you can shoot properly, peacefully, all that has helped. Apparently, Lagan was a first sing sound film that got recognition. I mean, outside also. And after that, yeah, I mean, now all the actors, big actors also, they prefer sing sound in terms of their performance, in terms of time, because once what you do is approved by the actor or director, it is approved visually and orally, so it's more coherent. of the performance. So yeah.
That's really a very interesting answer with a lot of exciting responses in it. So like it's really exciting me, and I'm waiting to draw the data from it and put it into my thesis. Yeah. Okay. Particularly something that you mentioned about the sound being used in a more engaging way now than before. Like it may be more a wider way. So what do you feel like? Give me an example of a place where you think sound has been used.
See, uh, this is I don't think it depends on, of course, like corporatization, globalization of the film industry has helped in many ways, but it also depends on the particular taste of the director. Like most Indian films, commercial Indian films, there are two basic tracks. It's a dialogue track and the BGM, background music track. And sound effects are used.
And in terms of corporatization, we've had this across from several other directors, producers, etc., where they are talking about how corporatization has changed the way they're working in terms of creative control. Do you feel like as a person working with sound, do you feel there's a difference in maybe maybe an enhancing or a loss of creativity in terms of people from the corporate world being involved in the filmmaking process?
Uh, uh, I I don't see it that way because again it's the director. Of course, now the director is coming from corporate company, so they're like corporate heads, and it's again the articulation of the director to convince the other corporate heads to what he likes and what he doesn't, and but things are more transparent, like what they feel about it. It's not a hush hush thing anymore. Mostly, that is it going forward okay? Is it or no? It's not working. The script is not working. We should have a new scene or new kind of treatment in the picture or sound. All that is very out in the open. In discussion happens. So, but again, it's up to the call of the director, and there will be influences from around him, and sometimes he succumbs to that, sometimes he doesn't.
Fantastic. So it's very much within the director's thing, but perhaps the director is also influenced by what's coming down from the corporate side.
Correct.
Yeah.
Films are, I told you that films are like life only if you're making a sci-fi film, but of that world we don't know. But after say 5 minutes or 10 minutes, we believe that that world exists, and we invest our emotion and our time in that film. So the setting up of that film makes the audience believe that it exists, and we entertain ourselves watching that film. And if it doesn't happen, then you don't. You say bad film or something. Similar way, if a director can convince those heads, corporate heads, about what he wants to create, uh, and see, somehow he likes that subject so much, or the writer likes that so much that it's really good, and maybe mostly it is good only. I mean, I would like to believe mostly it's good. It's just that his or her articulation to the corporate heads are not clear enough to make them reach that place. So, what he feels, they do not feel. And why they do not feel, there could be a lot of reasons. One can be the articulation, lack of articulation.
That's really good to know in terms of, and do you feel that in the way corporate practices obviously they're influencing, like there's more transparency, etc. Do you think I'm flapping my hand in front of the light?
No.
Yeah. So do you feel there's a change in the way work practices? Let's say, for example, are you signing more sort of terms within contracts, and like more insurance, and is it more formalized than perhaps contracts which you signed in the past? Do you think there's a change in the
See, when I came, the corporation has already taken place. So I don't know the difference between the old times, but
there's a conflict definitely.
definitely
What you were talking about.
it's I mean, everything is not good in terms of again, but everything is not good, not because it has bad effects, because the corporation, it doesn't mean that it has left the individual, preferences. The corporate have heads have their individual preferences, and they influence it anyway.
Correct. And in terms of the kinds of films that you think are being promoted now, like as a layperson, I seem to be seeing that there are more sort of experimental films now than there were before. Experimental, as in, maybe I would say, so and so topic is probably more an art house topic,
Correct.
but it's now being released as a commercial multiplex theatre. Are you seeing any patterns, any trends? Is there a move towards more experimental, or do you think there's more of a tendency to return to the conventional? Like, what do you think is happening?
No, it's definitely, see, there are more and more experimental niche films are coming up. There's different trend of producing this kind of films, and they are giving results also in terms of business. So now the subjects has really varied. It's, there are a lot of things that never came up in films. It's only romance or only action earlier, but now it's like really issues coming up, like home balance or any other thing.
On a different topic altogether, in terms of censorship, the hottest topic at the moment.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you find that when you're working with obviously censorship has been, I'm talking about CBFC censorship, not social at the moment. So through the decades, it seems to be a problem with the different directors, producers, affecting every aspect of films. So as a person working with sound, do you feel that has censorship any impact on your work, firstly? And secondly, if it does, do you think there's a change? Like, is it easier now to work? Is it more difficult to work? Are you
Again, in sound, it has become so easy to do anything now. Earlier, any cuss words or all those things that would be like beeped out. So there is a beep sound. You know that there is a gali. There is a sound like some swearing is going on. But now there is no. You cannot put any beep. It's like it has to be muted. There will be no sound. In terms of language, of course, the language, earlier films in 90s, those are not like harsh language being used. Now, harsh language are, we know that's the reality. So those are like, the directors are trying to bring that out also. Again, it's a reflective of life, of society. So it should be that way only. So, earlier, we tried to put everything under the carpet, and it's like only romance and only action and all that. So it's entertainment, and let's go for entertainment only. But at that time also there are a lot of experimental films talking about realities and all that. But now the numbers has become much more, and much more valuable.
do you
So
feel
I
it's
mean, now at my time in 2009, I was not very keen in Facebook or anything. But now everything is out in the open. Every like whatever they do, they talk about it. And but again, since the good things and bad things come together, it's like bad things are also like, well, falsely hyped, and good things are also falsely hyped. I don't know what to believe and what not until unless you experience it yourself. So basically, you have, again, it comes down to that: do you know that person? What do you know his taste? And so what he says, does it mean anything to you? So you trust his, then you go for it. But you don't know, there are a lot of people saying, and you go and watch, and you know that you have wasted your time and money just for nothing.